You ready to get freako?
I'm ready to get Freako for sure.
Griggies, are you ready to get freako?
Groggy's Freako. All right. So Frankie Freako is the brand new film from writer director Stephen Katanski, who I've been a fan of for quite a while now. Now him, Adam Brooks, and Connor Sweeney, as well as a few others, I think, make up Astron 6, which they used to make these really low budget, cool ass, like stop motion
Mm.
animation, like super super cheap practical effects driven movies like Manborg and Father's Day, and then there was like a whole mess of like shorts that they did. They were all the Astron 6 films. And then Steven Katanski kind of went off on his own. Now he's a visual effects guy that's worked on a lot of like really big movies, but he likes to make these like more independent things on his own. And he went off and he made like Leprechaun Returns, and he made The Void. He made Psycho Gorman more recently,
Mm.
and then Adam Brooks and them went off and they made stuff like The Editor. They've made a lot of really cool stuff apart from one another and together. So them coming back together for this film was very exciting. I really didn't know about the production of this. This one kind of came out of nowhere for me about a month or two ago when it was playing at Fantastic Fest. I was like, oh, like Connor Sweeney is starring, and Stephen Katanski is writing and directing, and Adam Brooks is also like in it as well, and it's like a puppet movie. I was like, oh, this is so everything I want right here, because this is the kind of shit. Now, horror comedy is a definite um, you know hit or miss for a lot of people,
Yeah.
and I think that if you're a fan of their previous work,
Mm.
if you're a fan of something like Father's Day, if you're a fan of anything like Psycho Gorman, then you're gonna love this, right? This
Yeah.
is totally that exact kind of brand of humor, and they're at their best here.
Yeah.
This is like the Muppets on acid, right? This is about a guy who's a square,
Such a
and
square.
he Connor Sweeney, who if you've seen the other films, you know who he is. He plays like Joe Everyman, who's a total nerd, and he works at like the most boring job on earth, and he comes home to his supermodel wife, which is
Yes.
really funny. And he's not satisfying her. He's not doing anything. So he sees an ad on television for Frankie Freako, who you can call like a 1-900 number, and he's going to teach you how to party.
Yeah.
And of course, he gives in and he calls Frankie, and him and his little duo of
Freakos.
yeah, freakos come alongside of him, and you get this like Muppet acid party. And then yeah, they go to his world, and it's all over the place. It's pure chaos. It's ultra low budget, but man, I don't give two shits. This is the kind of horror comedy I love. This is the kind of stuff I adore, because it's just so wildly inventive, and everyone is just having the best time ever when they're making this. I can only imagine being on a set like this
Oh
and
man.
and just having so much fun. uh Huge win once again. These guys never steer me wrong. Anytime they make anything, I'm always like so on board. I think they're so funny. I think they're so genuine, and I just love the shit that they do.
Shabadoo.
Shabadoo.
Yeah, I had a really good time with this. It was very entertaining, very funny, very goofy and silly, but it kind of reminded me a little bit of Ghoulies.
Yeah.
I love Muppets and puppets in general, so I always like really appreciate seeing them in horror films because I feel like they're just not as like common anymore.
Oh, sure. Of
I
course
mean,
not.
like some puppetry obviously is done for like practical effects in certain creature films that come out, but for the most part, I think a lot of things are,
It's from a
CG.
bygone era.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I really love it. I think that it's like it adds this layer of nostalgia to the film,
Yeah.
which this one it definitely has that kind of like 80s vibe going on, especially with the like late night like number to call.
Yeah.
But it was just so funny. It's so ridiculous. There's so many moments that are just like so zany and wacky, and I love the look of all of the puppets, of all the Freakos. I think they all look great.
Yeah.
I like that they're all different. That's what is really exciting to see, like different just designs, and you get to see some more than just like the main three too, which is cool.
This
And
reminds
yeah.
me of like full moon movies, but with more love and care put into them.
Mm,
Like full moon movies, a lot of them are just kind of thrown together. Charles Band just kind of hired whoever to make like the Puppet Master movies or the Demonic Toys movies or like whatever. And it reminds me of that brand and the Ghoulies, like you had said, or Dolls, or
yeah, yeah.
Gremlins is a little higher budgeted, of course. So,
But
but
it's that
it's
kind of
that low
vibe.
budget, like
Yeah.
early '90s,
Mm.
late '80s. If you love that kind of stuff, anything with puppeteering and super over the top, ridiculous scenes, then this is 100% up your alley. But as I said, I think that the audience that this is going to cater to already is on board because they've already
Yeah.
seen Psycho Gorman. They've
Yes.
already, have consumed a lot of Katansky and Astron Six's work. And so if you're just like here to see whether or not like it lives up, if it's up to
Mm-hmm.
snuff or if it lives up to their prior work, 100%. This goes really well alongside of Psycho Gorman or anything
Mm-hmm.
else that they've made. If you saw something like Benny Loves You,
Oh yes,
it's even zanier than that.
yes, yeah.
But it has a similar type of feel. I feel like we
The
always get
other
at least, you know, we always get at least a few of these every year,
mm,
where you have the kind of like puppeteering or the ridiculous characters that are done practically. And I always am a big fan. We got that one last year. Um, what was that movie called with the
mm.
guy who was eating everyone up and he had the huge mouth
Oh
and it was
yeah.
like actually
Oh yeah.
scary to
It actually
you?
freaked me out. Oh my god, I can't remember the name now. Oh, because we've seen so much.
I know. But there's, I mean,
Yes, that one was really good.
we get so many. We got
The,
the special, I think is what that one was called, where the guy like he's like puts his dick in the box and it's like giving him the best blowjob ever. And they're like, you
oh,
can't ever look in the box.
I never saw that.
I'm pretty sure the director of that, crazy enough, directed my least favorite movie ever made, the Death House,
Oh really?
which I
I've
was
never
like, I have no
seen
interest in seeing anything he
either
ever
of
makes. And then he made
those.
that, and I was like, it was pretty entertaining.
Wasn't the other one? It was like something like Bobo's Girls or something. Oh, anyway, this also kind of reminded me of Rent a Pal a little bit
Oh, okay.
ish, like with
Where the TVs,
yeah,
yeah.
like I mean, it's not, it's definitely very different in a lot of ways, but I kind of got that vibe.
Well, it's just kind of like the '90s on screen nostalgia of like a bygone era, right? Like where you would go rent a tape that has like, you know, almost like the dating service, but this
Yeah,
one was like
yeah,
for a friend,
yes,
and then 1-900 numbers, which were littered on TV when I was a kid.
yeah,
Like when you were up at 2 in the morning, and in my generation, it was just 1-900 numbers
hmm,
all over the place.
yeah,
And they had all sorts of funny ass ones. They even had Freddy hotlines and stuff
hmm.
where you could call and talk to Freddy for like
Well, they
5 minutes.
make reference of that in here too, actually, which is funny.
Yeah.
Like, oh, last time you called Freddy,
Oh, right.
you got too scared or something, which is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really fun movie. Definitely, if you're a fan of like Psycho Gorman and everything, I think this will be just as entertaining.
Yeah. If you're a fan of like early Peter Jackson work where he
Mm,
was doing like Meet the Feebles, something like that, then this is totally up your alley.
hmm, yeah,
Meet the Feebles mixed with like Ghoulies.
yeah.
Ghoulies is probably
Ghoulies
the
is like the closest,
closest.
but it's like if the Ghoulies like talked.
were like more cosmic. The Ghoulies do talk
Oh yeah, they
in
do, but
like
ghoulies go to college? No, they
they
talk
100%
later.
talk in part 4 when they're like not Ghoulies at all
Yeah.
anymore. I think the Ghoulies. I don't think the Ghoulies talk in any of the first
I don't think so
3.
either. They like just make noises. But there's like, so this is like if the
Yeah,
ghoulies like had like spoken lines like in like character parts versus just like being little ghoulies running around.
yeah,
We got a little Freako here ourselves.
yeah. We have his little sidekicks. You've got the cowboy chick, and then you've got the like robot faced one. Um,
Shabadoo.
who has his catchphrase. It's fun as
Super
fuck.
fun.
It's very early '90s, and I'm reiterating myself at this point. So that's that. Frankie Freako.
Frankie
What
Freako.
a fun film. Not for
Yes.
everybody.
No.
If you're like still not sold, look at a trailer because if you can't understand the vibe of this, I think you're probably gonna get it from a trailer. You're gonna be like, oh hell no.
Yeah.
This looks so stupid. If you're usually someone who's like, this is stupid, then you're probably gonna think this is really, really fucking stupid. If I showed this to my father, he'd probably disown me. You're like, what is it that you were showing me right now? You are not my son anymore. So, anyway. All right. Anything more, Grugs? Oh, trying to
Try
eat
to
it?
eat it.
He is a freako.
He's a little Freako.
All right, guys. We'll see you in the comments. Bye.
Bye.